different type of portal is a creative conduit, but a creative conduit to a specific type of consciousness that is transmitting that energy through that conduit, aka through that portal. With all of the solar activity going on this year and moving forward, we have to ask, what exactly are portals? Because so much of the solar flares, solar activity, solar storms, geomagnetic storms that we're experiencing are actually because of portals. So when we're thinking of a portal, we usually think of a portal as something very physical that is meant to open up. It's like a gateway in between realities, or what I call realms. And that's true to a certain extent, but when we think about portals, we have to first look at them as being spiritual conduits of a specific type of frequency. So you can have portals that have a specific frequency that's coming in from fifth density, or even the fifth dimension, or even a lower dimension. So portals in and of themselves is the conduit. It is the way that energies from one realm enter into and infuse themselves into another realm. Portals have a physical expression and a physical manifestation of them, and they have a spiritual and non-physical expression of them. So usually when we think of portals, we're thinking of the physical expression of what's opening that up, whether it's a specific sequence of numbers, meaning like a date, like a month with a day and a year, or whether the thing that's physical, that's representing the spiritual and the metaphysical force and expression of that portal could be an event. It could be some sort of either worldly event or a very strong event within a specific collective that's meaningful to them, whether it's positive or negative. So physical portals, or the physical expression, the way that we know in the manifested world how a portal was open, or how we're experiencing energies, whether they're for better or for worse from a portal, is from some sort of physical manifestation we can see. Even if that physical manifestation beyond numbers and dates and beyond worldly events is something going on with solar activity, which is what we're experiencing a lot of right now. That's a physical expression. That's a physical manifestation of portals. So what these portals are doing is they're a conduit from higher level energies or lower level energies. It really depends on the next part of what we're going to talk about, which is the intent behind the portal. So lower level dimensions and lower level forces usually have portals activated within this reality through coercion, meaning they're forcing that portal to open. It's not happening due to some sort of organic expression of consciousness evolving, or an organic unfoldment of consciousness evolving, because usually things unfold. They go through a process of becoming more aware, and with each layer, that's an unfoldment. That expansion process that we usually think of it, we know expansion very well in this age, that's an unfoldment. And so instead of an unfoldment happening with some portals, those portals are activated by having the coercion, or just the force of going, I'm gonna open this portal. So usually when it's done with force, it's not done for great intentions. You can watch my video, How Consciousness Creates Reality, to watch more about exactly what we do to create reality through negative forms of loosh. so that that negative energy can act as a battery to feed the opening of portals, which is why loosh and portals go hand in hand. So that's just one basis of how portals get opened. And that's through the negative expression of how to open portals and what portals even have when that energy is entering our reality. With that, you'll see large scale events, or maybe one event that affected a large scale of people. Now, when I say a portal is opening and there's, negative energies being harvested by the collective, I want to point out here that what's so important to know is that within this reality, there's always a negative and a positive. So what you'll see is that even if something has a negative intention and a portal was opened intentionally for a negative reason, that does not mean that we are now forced to have a negative experience of it and it ruined everything, because there's always the alchemical force. And what you'll find, the funniest part about it, is that no matter how much you'll see a negative intention or a dark intention behind something, it is so narrow-minded that it accidentally is like a snake that eats its own tail. It will accidentally produce something very positive, like people waking up or whatever it may be. So in that sense, you're playing with duality when it comes to this reality and when it comes to some types of portals being opened. And at the end of the day, it's still always able to be transformed into positivity. And sometimes it even serves the positive even better than if, there wasn't that catalyst there, if there wasn't that inflammation there, so that our consciousness has inspiration to evolve. It needs inspiration sometimes. Now, positive portals bring in different strands of what I perceive as creative energies. So one portal could be coming in from one constellation, and that portal will be having the energies of that specific consciousness transmitted. And so because of that, when we're receiving energy from portals, the positive energy from portals, what's happening is that specific parts of our own consciousness that were dormant start being activated. They start coming online. And so in that respect, portals act as a conduit of creative parts of consciousness, creative parts that start pouring in to our own energy field, pouring into our own environment and life. And we start in training with them. And so when we start in training with them from these positive portals, what we're doing is having more of our own body, mind, spirit start awakening. So when it's being activated, this means that literally, not just at a mental level, a body level, meaning that it's our DNA, it's our mitochondria, it's our physiology, and our endocrine system especially, all of these things get pretty much the most visibly impacted through the endocrine system. The endocrine system itself is responsible for a lot of the transmutation that goes on inside our evolutionary process. So in our body, these portals that we receive energies from will be affected on every level, starting with the body level, and then we'll go to the mental and spiritual and emotional layer. So within the semi-physical and even the metaphysical parts of our own consciousness and parts of our own energy field, how we'll receive the energies that are being transmitted through that creative conduit of a portal is through having whatever frequencies that portal is being transmitted to us. then start to come online in our own body, mind, spirit. So what that will look like is, let's say we're receiving activations from the angelic realm and they're going through a portal. What we'll see is a physical manifestation of that portal. This physical manifestation could literally be as we're experiencing geomagnetic storms, solar activity, or through vortices here on Earth, or some sort of power center. So each different type of portal is a creative conduit, but a creative conduit to a specific type of consciousness that is transmitting that energy through that conduit, aka through that portal. So, for instance, a level of consciousness would be angel. That angelic realms are a specific level of consciousness. When they're using portals to transmit their frequencies through, their creative life force through, then we're receiving it, but just like all the different types of portals, we're receiving it and there will be a physical expression or a physical manifestation of that portal. Even though there's a spiritual expression of that too, it will manifest through some sort of physical thing. So portals can be open for the reason of having lower dimensional energies enter into this reality, or interdimensional energies enter into this reality. Interdimensional in this case meaning specifically the same dimension, just not within the same realm. That's what interdimensional means. Or higher dimensional energies, or even higher density. So portals in and of themselves are a creative conduit for energies being transmitted. And depending on what exactly the consciousness is, the level of consciousness, the type of consciousness that that portal is representing for those energies will determine what type of portal it is. And to give one more example of this beyond the angelic realms, Ascended Master is a level of consciousness. So Ascended Master can have their consciousness transmitted through a portal. So when we're receiving different types of activations, different frequencies, they serve us in different ways, but they'll get activated through a portal. I hope this has expanded your awareness of portals. Make sure to subscribe to my channel for higher dimensional guidance through spiritual awakenings. See you next time.